Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Nikachu, Merfolk Master. Welcome to all the fish fams, the ghost gangs, the cryptic clubs, I don't know, the fire friends. Hello, everyone. We're going to start another day with this live stream. Coffee and MTG with Nikachu. We're gonna start the morning right, start the day right with a nice, wonderful coffee, and we can hang out and talk questions. Let me get myself set up here. I'm more or less already set up. Good morning to everyone. Good morning, Hunter. Good morning, Lantern. Good morning, Cone Morris. We got a lot of people here today. What time zone am I in? Hunter, I am in Central Standard Time. So right now this is like 9:13 for me, Central Standard Time. That's how it's working for me. Oh, I am gorgeous, Kumi. I'm gorgeous. Oh, I'm doing so wonderful. And it's another day, and we are trying to get through the. Oh, Lantern asks, "Will you ever stream at McDonald's again?" I can stream at McDonald's when McDonald's opens up. So I live very close to a McDonald's, and Lantern, who's one of my patrons, he knows that we do private group chats, private hangouts, and I've done quite a few at McDonald's before. But unfortunately, the McDonald's is only drive-through right now only, so I can't do anything exciting at McDonald's at the moment. And we need, again, I'm trying to do this on a daily basis because we need to be there for each other right now. We are living in the midst of a crisis, both in the real world and in the MTG world. And the MTG world is also facing a crisis. We've got companions everywhere. Apparently Agent of Treachery is also ruining standards, so there's no format that's clean and safe at the moment except for maybe Historic on MTG. That's a very good, balanced, great format. You can play control, aggro, and there is a tempo deck, and it's called Merfolk. So good morning, Kyoka66. Looking forward to another Merfolk chat. Absolutely, we are going to talk all the Merfolk, Mikey J10. Can we just ban companions and Uro and move on? Well, I doubt they're gonna ban. So Pimpin asks, can we ban Uro? I doubt that we're gonna be banning Uro anytime soon. It's like it's a good card, but I don't think that it is ban worthy. I don't know if it's ban worthy. I don't know if it goes in the category of Hogak and Oko, especially since there's not really many decks that can play it. I mean, Uro was running rampant in Modern for like how long? I don't know, like a whole month before it found its shell. Like a lot of people tried a lot of janky garbage, things with like Thought Scour and trying to fill your graveyard so you can get that Uro out, but really the solution was just to throw it in a control deck, and they can take like their turn 3 off to gain some life, draw a card, put a land drop into play, which helps get like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria out by turn 5. And, you know, it's just nothing, you don't do anything special. You just play it, you just throw it into like a sort of a control shell and everything is going to be fine. And really, there aren't even a whole lot of people playing with Uro in Modern, in the grand scheme of things, in my opinion. Good evening, Elia says. Merfolk players from Italy, welcome. Yeah, so if it's your morning, you're going to be drinking the coffee. If it's your evening, maybe you're already onto your tea. I know I'm onto my coffee. It's morning for me. Oh, I had a great sleep last night. I had a great sleep. That's why we're doing this a little bit later, because I had the great sleep. But, you know, ideally, I would like to do these things at like 10 o'clock. Right now, it's closer to like 9:17 right now, but that's because, again, we're going to try to make League videos today with my brother. We have so much troubleshooting going on. Yesterday we had everything working. We had OBS working. We had Magic the Gathering Online working. We had the audio working. And then his laptop overheated and then shut down. What are you gonna do? So he needs to bring like one of his like laptop fans over, and maybe we got to record in a lower resolution, but we're gonna make it work. And so I'm just waiting for him to show up. So we're gonna have not a super long hangout, but like a long hangout. We'll do this for about an hour. We'll do this for about an hour. Josie girl, be honest. Are you wearing pants? Yes, I am wearing pants. I'm not in the morning, I don't walk around in my underwear. Closer to nighttime, I might do something like that, but in the morning, I'm all a pants person. I can proof. Here. I won't be one of those fake people. Oh yeah, I don't wear pants. So I broke the illusion. McDonald's coffee slaps, says Mike. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I like the McDonald's coffee. It's good stuff. I won't pay for it on a daily basis, but I mean, if I'm going out somewhere, I'll get that coffee. Gabriel says, hello, Nikachu. Hello, Gabriel from Brazil. I got a lot of fans from Brazil. Brazil is, you know, if it wasn't for YouTube and for me to see the analytics, I would have had no idea how popular Magic the Gathering Online was in Brazil. Brazil has a lot of popularity. I mean, they're in my top 5 of all the most like viewed like the highest rated viewers, like the most viewers from each country. Brazil is in the top 5 for this channel. I'm very impressed with Brazil. So Brazil, they love their Magic. They love their Magic. So I have a lot of love for Brazil. Antonin really appreciates the timing. Whenever I open school stuff, I pop up. Excellent. Limited is even busted right now due to the cycling deck. That's funny. Has there ever been something banned in Limited? I don't think so. Hogak and Oko will restabilize all. Maybe Oko. Like I'm of the opinion Oko is the grand stabilizer. I mean, no matter. Oko guarantees that like nothing can get out of hand. All right, if there's any stupid large creature in existence that's unstoppable, Oko will stop it. If there's any aggro decks that decide, you know what, we're gonna like run over the format, that's not gonna work either. So, because you're gonna gain life with Oko. So I'm of the opinion that Oko. Hey, I didn't call for the banning of Oko. It was everybody else. I was on the Oko side, but it was split 50-50. It was split 50-50. I pulled Modern players, and you know, half were on, you know, I like Modern with Oko. The other half was like screw Oko and screw Modern. And then of course after there was a big GP with like 1 million Okos in the top 8. Then they decided to finally axe it. We're way worse with the companions. It's like 80% hate the companions. Only 20% like the companions. This is not looking good for Loris. It's not looking good for Loris or Yorion or any of those other companions. So that's not good. Good morning, Tim. Good morning. Nikachu, what languages are you fluent in? Just English, and I can speak some really bad Polish. Moi po polsku niedobrze. I can say about like 100 words, and it's pretty useless. Little Bird 965, do you think the pushed power level in recent times will help Merfolk in Modern, or will it push the tier 1 further away with power and value? Always. When the metagame gets more narrow, Merfolk succeeds, because Merfolk is a deck that you want to customize for the metagame, and the more diverse it is, the harder it is to build the deck for. But if like the metagame was just 3 decks, I could build a deck that will have an 80% win percentage. So that's very good it's very, very good for Merfolk. Now we don't actually have a narrow metagame. We actually have a pretty wide open metagame. It's still very wide open. There's like more than 20 decks available. But they all magically converged around 1 and 2 mana spells thanks to Loris. So there is an axis for Merfolk to beat it. Therefore, like Chalice of the Void works very well in Merfolk and really puts a hurt on all these Loris decks. But generally, if the power level, so long as it's not too tier 0, I had a fine matchup against Hogak, but I didn't have a very good matchup against the Crab Vine version of Hogak, because that was too fast. They like dumped a bunch of cards in their graveyard, got a bunch of Vengevines on the battlefield very quickly and started attacking. That wasn't very good for Merfolk. But in general, I would say Merfolk does very well when the power pushes other things away. So when the power level is like flat and there's like millions of decks in the metagame, that's not good for Merfolk. I don't like that. There's like millions, there's too much to prepare for, too much to play around. You don't have enough slots in your sideboard, and there are no individually good Merfolk cards. They're all like things like Tidebinder Mage. tap down target red or green creature, and it doesn't get to untap during its controller's untap step. Well, that's very good against the red and green decks, but what about the white decks, the blue decks, the black decks? So like there are these like narrow cards, really strong given the right situation, but very bad if there's like if the metagame is stretched too thin. So I think the power creep actually benefits Merfolk all the time. All the time. I'm very happy for I mean, I'm not happy for Modern when it like gets really narrow, but Merfolk benefits when that happens. I've always benefited. Don't be fooled, Deathy Man says. It's a hologram. Lindsay, how can I buy the cup? I have them on Teespring. It's very interesting. People are asking me about the cup. Yeah, they're sold on Teespring. I think I might, like, okay, here's the problem with the cup. I don't have the logo on the other side. I realize that's like a design flaw. If you're left-handed, maybe it's not a big deal. But if you're right-handed, like, what's the point if you can't see it? So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to I found out that I can put the logo on the front and on the back. So I might redesign the cup very soon so that we can have the best of both worlds. And I also might just get rid of the Nikachu MTG thing. I think that's a little bit busy, and I would just have the bunny logo. So the I mean, if you want to support me immediately, you can go for it. You would get a limited edition cup, that's for sure, before I would move on to the final design. So anyone who's already purchased with the Nikachu MTG and only one-sided bunny, that's a limited edition thing. It's going to be rare. There's Tim Spear in there with Yakshamash. Give me thoughts on Tommy Wiseau. I have no idea who that is. I would give you all my thoughts, but I don't know. Slap is a good thing, yes. Beats Tim Coffee by a wide margin. Oh, yes. Do you know what? I mean, Tim Hortons, so Mike's like showing the battle between Tim Hortons and McDonald's. They're both good coffee in my opinion. It's just that I've been drinking Tim Hortons for like, 10, 15 years. And at some point, the coffee's just not doing it for me anymore. I've grown tolerant of the bean and like it's getting old. Whereas the McDonald's coffee tastes different. It's giving me more of a buzz because I'm not tolerant to their version of the bean, and it's just good. I love my coffee because like you need, in my opinion, you need coffee when you're playing Magic the Gathering. I love me some Timbits. Okay, the only thing I don't like about Tim Hortons, so for anyone who doesn't know, Tim Hortons is like the grand coffee chain in Canada. It's like, I don't know where you get your coffee, but everyone gets their coffee basically in Canada from Tim Hortons. It's like it's almost like the McDonald's of coffee, really. It's fast, it's cheap, they don't want to know your name, they just want to give you want your coffee, and they want to give you your coffee, and they want you to get the hell out of there. The problem with Tim Hortons is they don't sell coconut donuts. What is wrong with you, Tim Hortons? And maybe it's because most people don't like it, but I love it. I mean, I absolutely love the coconut donut. You let me know if you're a coconut fan in the comment section. Let me know who's into coconut here. Because and it's unparalleled to any other donut. I really don't care about anything else except the coconut donut. I mean, I guess the perfection is the chocolate coconut anything. It's absolutely fantastic. But they don't sell it. They just don't sell it. They don't accommodate me. It's very hard to find coconut these days. I must be a dying breed or something. Elia says the secret lair fetches are 300 euros right now. That is ridiculous. I mean, if you really need the fetch lands, just buy them individually. Yeah, the price of the fetch lands did not go down with secret lair, did it? And we're probably just going to see another secret lair with the other fetch lands. So we have one secret lair for one set of fetch lands, and they're going to get the other 5 through another secret lair. Sad times we're living in. However, if you're the type of person that complains that the price of Modern is too high, fetch lands are too expensive, right now is the time to buy. If you can. The price of Modern cards are collapsing because of the current world crisis. People need to raise money. Everything like Aether Vial is $20. Aether Vial's seen lows I've never seen in an incredibly long time, like ever since I got into the Merfolk deck. So Aether Vial is very, very cheap. The fetch lines are very cheap. A lot of modern staples are cheap. I mean, you can get a modern deck with for 20, 25, 30% off that's normal price because prices are collapsing. Of course, you can't use the cards immediately. Well, maybe you can because they'll probably start if they start opening the world, they'll probably allow only small gatherings. So it's possible, but I mean, you won't be able to use them in very large events. But we don't know. Maybe you can't use the cards at all for a long time. But still, if there was the time to invest in Modern, now is the time. Now is a very good time. Yes, Innistrad. In Innistrad, there were a few banned cards in Limited. Really? How do you ban something in Limited? The 2-mana enchantment that gives tokens vigilance and +2/+2, I think. I know what you're talking about, Deathy Man. How do you ban something in Limited? So what, if you see the card, you're just not allowed to play it? What the hell is going on? Intangible Virtue, that's right. Wow, that's incredible. Oh, here's a great question. Okay, Abhinav asks, do you watch WWE? I don't, but I used to as a child. I used to when I was a kid. I did watch a lot of WWF, which it was formerly called the WWF because there was other competing things like WCW and all this other garbage. My favorite characters were Razor, Ramon, and Diesel, hands down. Those were my absolute favorite. And then when they got sold off to the WCW, I just stopped watching. I never went back. I just never got back into wrestling ever again. It was that was it. It was over. And so I don't know what I've missed. But it was funny. My brother and we were talking about this just the other day. There's 2 belts. Well, there's more than that, but there are 2 particular belts that I feel are in conflict with each other. There is the World Championship belt, and then there is the Intercontinental Championship belt. So explain to me, what is the difference between the World Championship belt and the Intercontinental Championship belt? If it's between all the continents, isn't that basically the world? Isn't that what is different? What makes you the world champion? You're a champion of all the seas? Are you the champion of the atmosphere and some range in outer space? It's a bit weird. I mean, they both seem like championship belts. I guess Intercontinental just includes the continents, no range of sea or outer space, or the air. So anyway, that just came to me out of nowhere just a week ago. My brother and I were talking about that. Because I can't remember what came up, but we were thinking about wrestling and what is the difference between these 2 belts? But anyway, let me know if you have any thoughts about what the difference is between the Intercontinental Championship and the World Championship. So Elias says, I said Hogak and Oko because they are the biggest banned cards, just to try think that they can try to unban all for a month. Well, there are no ban list. There's no ban list Modern tournaments, and they're almost playable, except that they probably should still ban Eye of Ugin because the one dominant deck is Eldrazi. But aside from that, there is a diverse metagame. You still see Death Shadow. You see Miracles. You see a lot of archetypes. Monster says, is Lurrus Merfolk currently the best build of Merfolk? I don't know. I would assume so, but I'm trying to play a league on camera without Lurrus. That's the next step. And I have high hopes that this is possible, that this is playable. Because, well, first off, I think Master of Waves is very good against Burn. I think it's also going to be good against Death Shadow and Grixis Delver. And I want to be able to utilize that card. I want to utilize Master of Waves badly. And also, I think the Simic plan is also going to work against a variety of other archetypes like the Yorion decks. I think being aggro with Simic is going to be very good. So I want to be able to utilize Master Waves and Simic. And that's hard to do with Lurrus. So I am open, and I'm open to believing that a non-Lurrus version of Merfolk can compete in today's Modern metagame. It would be really cool if I could show the questions on screen. It's too bad they don't give you that ability on YouTube. That'd be fantastic. Hogak is just a fringe commander card. Will Shocklands drop even more in price after rotating out? Probably not. Historically, the Shocklands still retain value because like all the other formats want them. But I don't know if there's a large enough quantity, maybe it's possible, but probably not by much. I wouldn't expect anything to go down by very much. Like all formats need them. Commander, Modern, everyone wants Shocklands. Braden Thomas, what are your thoughts on Dredge? It's my favorite deck, but in my opinion, it's been hit on the list 3 times. You think Faithless Looting could be brought back to promote deck diversity? Absolutely not. Faithless Looting is never coming back. I mean, and Dredge is like a super ultra powerful deck. It's still in the range of archetypes that you need sideboard cards to beat. Like, you're not beating that deck in a fair manner. You like always lose game 1 to that deck, almost always, and you have to have like very powerful sideboard cards to beat it. It's basically taking the spot of Affinity. If anyone played Modern, like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, or even 4 years ago, there was Affinity was like the glass cannon deck that you would always lose game 1, and then you needed like Stony Silence or some very harsh artifact hate in order to beat in games 2 and 3. And that's basically that's what Dredge does right now. You have like basically no chance game 1, and then you have to hope to get lucky in game 1, and then your only reasonable chance of winning in games 2 and 3 is with like hard graveyard hate, which fortunately there is a lot of compared to Affinity. Affinity, there wasn't much at all. There's like Stony Silence and a few other things, but it was all mostly crap, and it was only available to white. Whereas, you know, today we've got like Leyland of the Void, we've got Grafdigger's Cage, we've got Relic of Progenitus, we've got Rest in Peace, we've got a lot of stuff for Dredge. But like, you can't. I don't think Faithless Looting will make the format more diverse. I think it would make it less diverse because it will just push the graveyard decks super fire. It will be Hogak again. We go back to the Hogak meta or something like a little bit behind Hogak. Modern was already shrinking, is what people forget when Faithless Looting was around. Maybe you're new to Modern, but Faithless Looting started putting a herd on a lot of archetypes because Is It Phoenix started to become a new stupid deck in the metagame, and Dredge was also a big stupid deck in the metagame, and was pushing out a lot of decks that could not compete with like turn 3 millions of Arclight Phoenixes and a thing in the ice that got flipped. That's what the what's it called? That's what Faithless Looting does to the format. Yeah, Hogak has seen Legacy play. That's ridiculous. Hunter, do you ever watch Survivor? I just watched a little bit. Like, I watched maybe the first 2 seasons when I was a kid. I forgot that show existed. I don't watch a whole lot of TV anymore. Michael Metz, hey Nikachu, is your logo a creation from yourself? And what is it supposed to be? A bunny? Yes, it's a bunny. It's actually a bunny mimicking Master of Waves, was what it is. So when I used to play poker, so if you want to know the origin of the bunny, long story short, I used to play poker, and when I was just starting out, you know, you're not making a whole lot of money when you're starting out. Like, I was making money, but it was like something to the range of like $200 a month, $500 a month. And then people in the poker community online would post graphs of their winnings, and there'd be so many of these graphs with like $1 million and $500,000 and $700,000 and even like $50,000 and stuff like that. So how the hell do I compete in this poker community for attention when I'm making like almost nothing compared to them? I used MS Paint to draw bunnies on my graphs. So there'd be like these cartoon bunnies of like eating carrots or facing some predicament. And when the graph was going up, the bunnies were happy and doing well. If the graphs were doing bad, it was like raining or something. And people loved it. They absolutely loved it. I was well known for the Nikachu bunny graphs. I'm sure you can Google it and you might find something. This is just something I've ported from the poker community. And I just gave a Master of Waves clothing, and boom, that's what we got here. People love bunnies. What can I say? People love bunnies. If you're just tuning in, welcome. Love everybody. Good morning. I hope you all have your coffee ready. I got my coffee. We have a good showing here this morning. We're at 76 people live. That's pretty good. That's great. I can make partner on Twitch with those numbers. I like it. Beautiful. McDonald's coffee is stronger than Tim Hortons, says Fiel John Maria. That is, I don't know if that's true. Like, it's hard for me to tell because I drank Tim Hortons coffee for so long. I don't know anymore. I mean, I can say for sure, to me right now, McDonald's feels more strong, but that's because I'm like so tolerant of the Tim Hortons coffee. Dunkin' is the best around here, says Kyoka66. I had Dunkin' Donuts coffee. I thought it was terrible. Not to dunk on Dunkin' Donuts coffee, you know, to each their own, but I like drank this and I was like, my God, this is awful. Maybe I had to drink something good. Maybe I just drank their like really low grade brew. Just drank a double and a French vanilla for my wife earlier today. Pancho, Nikachu, are you hoping a Merfolk on Core 2021? Also hope Wizards of the Coast gives you a preview card. Well, I mean, okay, so first off, I am hoping for a Merfolk in 2021 because always in these core sets, you have an opportunity to get like a good Merfolk. They're not following any sort of lore. Because, you know, when you go to like, say, Tarkir or something, there's no Merfolk on Tarkir, so you can't expect any good Merfolk cards. However, in the core set, like anything can happen. Same thing with Modern Horizons, like anything can happen. There's no theme to this. So, you know, this is an opportunity to get a good Merfolk. I hope we do, but like, the more and more I look at the Merfolk deck, I just want a 1-drop. I mean, maybe I could get impressed with another 2-drop or a 3-drop or a 4-drop, but really I just want a 1-drop because that's what we're missing here. And I'm very happy with the rest of the deck. We got good counter spells. We've got good interaction now. Brazen Borrower is a blessing. Super good. Oh, and am I going to get a preview card? Very unlikely. Very, 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 very unlikely. Maybe my chances will go up once I start streaming on Twitch. Maybe. But if they don't, like, I don't expect any preview cards. Let's just say that. I don't think Wizards of the Coast they like me, but I don't know if they can go as far as to give me preview cards. There we go. Kokona is the best. Elia agrees with me. T-Man says, if you liked Oko, do you think that Mox Opal was more the problem than Oko? I know we didn't see Oko without Opal, but turn 2 Oko off birds is still extremely good. They probably both had to go. I mean, Mox Opal was a problem for a very long time. Here's the thing with Oko. Like, when you play something like Snapcaster Mage every game, Snapcaster Mage flashes back a different card very often. Maybe a cantrip, maybe a counter spell, maybe a removal spell like Lightning Bolt. But Oko did the same thing over and over and over again. Play your Oko, make a food token, make it into an elk. The play patterns were like, they felt the same. It didn't feel like it was different, even though they are different. Like, you know, it's very nuanced, the difference between elking your opponent's card, elking one of your artifacts, or making a food token. So, I mean, there was a lot of nuance between Oko that I really enjoyed. But for most players, it just felt like Oko does the same, creates the same game again and again and again and again. And with so many people playing Oko, whether you are playing against Urza, or you are playing against Merfolk, or you are playing against Death Shadow, every single time they play Oko, they would basically do the same thing. So probably that's basically why it went. The community did not like the repetitive nature of Oko Thief of Crowns. Cone Morris, cats or dogs? Cats, big cat fan. Chubby Meatballs around here. I don't mind dogs, but I don't like taking care of them. They're like pretty high maintenance. If I got a dog, it would have to be like an indoor dog. Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada gets like minus 40 degrees outside. I'm absolutely not taking dogs out I have taken out dogs for a walk when I had to take care of them for other people, but my God, it's awful to take a dog for a walk in such frigid, cold weather. Good morning, Thomas. Good morning. Weird that we won't really have an Ikoria release in paper. Yeah, it is a bit funny, but that's just how it is, says Mac. Yo, Endgame, welcome, good morning. So FB Pro says, yeah, I want to know cats or dogs too. Also favorite edition and favorite plane. Oh, well, favorite plane is probably Lorwyn because it has all the merfolk on it. And my favorite edition? I don't know what you mean by edition. Like set? Maybe my favorite set might be Theros because that's the one with like Thassa and Master of Waves. Some good feelings about that set. If not, then maybe Masks block, or sorry, Macadian Masks. It was the very first set booster I ever opened was a Masks booster. I opened a two-headed dragon. I was thrilled. It was pretty cool. Well, good morning, Hoax. Nice with all these hangouts. Have missed the others so far. Worth going back to? Oh, yeah, sure. Like, I mean, a lot of people ask very unique questions. Like, if you got dead time, like, you know, I personally listen to these sort of hangout podcast like stuff when, like, you know, I got dead time or I need to relax. I want to like meditate or just lie down. Just throw on one of those like sort of hangout things and then listen for an hour or so. And because you know, there's all sorts of dead time in your day where you just need to sort of fill the silence. So yeah, they're definitely worth going through. Some questions have been answered before, but not all of them. What do we got here? How do you see Eldrazi's Tron's position in the meta going forward? Used to be a top deck, definitely not showing strong results recently. So, like in theory, I think Eldrazi Tron should be killing everyone. I think Eldrazi Tron is very well positioned. They are the best Chalice of the Void deck. They can tell the Lurrus decks to go screw themselves. They can tell Yorion decks to go to hell. I think the deck is very strong. I think the deck is very good. I think one problem is, I don't know if it was out of the initial release of Ikoria, but I know the Eldrazi community is very split up whether the deck is still good or not. And I know even Eldrazi Tron Master Laplacian, he's moved on to the companion versions of decks. So it might be that Eldrazi Tron's not showing results because the hardcore Eldrazi Tron players are not piloting the deck anymore. I would have to see what Matthews is doing. So there's a very strong Eldrazi Tron player online, Matthews. I think he's from Brazil, and he's at the top of the leaderboards almost always. And even in the Ikoria metagame, I saw he put up a result with Eldrazi Tron. But you know, if he's sticking to the deck and can still put results up, I think Eldrazi Tron is still doing well. In theory, I think it should do very well. I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. But yeah, I think we're not seeing the results that we think we should be. But I think mostly that is attributed to the fact that half of the Eldrazi Tron communities moved on to something else, so they're not getting in the results like they used to. Good morning, Lassie. Good, yeah, Lass with the E at the end. I see what you did there. Okay, Josie Girls got it, the answer. Intercontinental Championship was created when Pat Patterson was North American champion in the late 70s. He won a tournament to become South American champion and unified the two in the intercontinental title. Okay, Josie Girl, that's fine. But then shouldn't it just be called the American Championship? How do you call that intercontinental? How do you include Antarctica? Like, or I mean, I guess you're supposed to include that. How do you include Australia and Europe and Asia? So, like, that's just a weird thing to me. So it's clearly like this American title, in my opinion. The world is for human players. Intercontinental is for merfolk players. Oh! Endgame asks, let's not forget about the greatest intercontinental and world champion ever, Chris Jericho. Winnipeg's own. That's right! Winnipeg. Chris Jericho's from Winnipeg. If there's anything that Winnipeg can brag about, it's Chris Jericho. And one day it's going to be me. We got a lot of talent in Winnipeg. And, you know, there's also, if anyone's familiar with the Commander YouTube channel, the Spike Feeders, they're also from Winnipeg. We have nothing better to do. We have to stream and do other stuff. We have to stream where we do wrestling. Pimpin' Magician of Prophecy. Why are pros almost wrong on everything competitive Magic related? Well, a lot of people like to give their opinion. You know what? Like Magic is almost like economics. It's like it's genuinely unpredictable. You know, we genuinely did not see Hogak coming when it actually got printed. It's like, oh yeah, that's something that could be played in Dredge. Oh wait, this can be played in something else, and it can win on turn 2. Oh shit. So, and then Siege Rhino was underrated. What was else? Archmage's Charm was overrated when it first got printed. Um, it's hard to tell how cards. There's some cards that look good, but they just don't interact or they don't have the right shell. And then there's things like, I think pros are also very good at speaking their mind about standard and limited because those are things that they play often. But then when it comes to things like modern and legacy that they're not really in tune with, I feel like their opinion starts to wane by a lot. But like basically everyone likes to give their opinion. It's just that the pros have a little bit more influence, a little bit more weight on you, a little bit more weight than usual than your average person when it comes to those opinions. But I wouldn't say that they're wrong about almost everything competitive Magic related. Little Bird 965, would you rather have a champion of the Merfolk, a Mausoleum Merfolk, or a Noble Merfolk? Good question. Probably champion of the Merfolk because it can get obscenely large. I think that would be very useful. I could be wrong. Maybe Mausoleum Merfolk is better, but I definitely don't think Noble Merfolk would be better. Like if we got a 0/1 Merfolk that ramped things and had Exalted, I don't think that's actually particularly useful for our deck because it's really similar to Noble Hierarch anyway. And I've played with Noble Hierarch and Merfolk, and you know what? It's just not there. It's just not there. Even when I'm playing with Collected Company, it's just not good enough for some reason. I think my best Collected Company Merfolk decks were without Noble Hierarch. Getting turn 3 Collected Company with Merfolk is just not that valuable because that card is like a dead card on the battlefield. Yeah, that Mana Dork just doesn't do enough. It looks good in theory, and it's good for humans, but I guess I don't know. Maybe it needs to be a Merfolk, and it would change a lot. But I would say that was definitely in the low end. Probably number 1, champion of the Merfolk. Number 2, Mausoleum Merfolk. Number 3, Noble Merfolk. Great question, though. Sorry, I cannot pronounce this name. I know that Chalice is well positioned right now, but what about Blood Moon? It seems to me that many decks mana base is really greedy right now in order to run Lurrus. So the problem with Blood Moon is that people are still running Arkham's Astrolabe, so you're going to have like no chance against that deck. So Blood Moon is still, I think, a good sideboard card, but the value of Blood Moon has usually been in the main deck. Because if you're running Blood Moon, you probably have a mana base that's really compromised so that you can run Blood Moon. So if you've got this sort of unoptimal mana base to optimize for Blood Moon, you generally want to have it in the main deck. However, it's just not, chances are it's not going to work because there are going to be too many decks that will ignore it, whether it's like Burn or an Arkham's Astrolabe deck. Basically, Arkham's Astrolabe really put a hurt on Blood Moon. That being said, like, I think you're right. Blood Moon does have some good positioning right now, but probably has to be a sideboard card, and it's got to be in a deck that can like have a mana base that can accommodate Blood Moon without sacrificing too much in game 1, is what I'm saying. Mike says, loved Arclight Phoenix because it was a great matchup for Esper Control. Interesting. Alnie13, why did you stop playing poker? Great question. So basically I had like most of my funds on Full Tilt Poker, and I don't know if anyone like followed the poker world, but there came a point where Full Tilt Poker was horribly mismanaged at the time, back in like 2010, 2009 or something like that, where they like pumped a bunch of fake money into the economy and had a really hard time actually getting the money. They were letting people like deposit e-checks into Full Tilt Poker and they had no actual Full Tilt Poker had no actual means of drawing money from the people's like bank account balance. So there was like a bunch of fake money on Full Tilt Poker, and then at some point, some gambling commission caught wind of this and then shut Full Tilt Poker down. Starting to remove Full Tilt Poker's license. Then the FBI seized Full Tilt Poker's like website, and then Full Tilt Poker was shut down for a very long time. So basically, I had like a big chunk of money on Full Tilt, and but at the time, people were like. Full Tilt Poker was trying to find a buyer, and they were getting buyers, but Full Tilt Poker didn't actually want to sell for whatever price that they were given. The rumor was like, oh, Full Tilt Poker is going to get sold in a week. Just don't worry about it. And then a week goes by. Oh, something's happening. Something's going to happen in a month. So let's just wait. So we wait. And then, oh, something's going to happen in 2 months. And something's going to happen in another 2 months. And anyway, like 2 years go by, and I'm like, I'm not playing. Because the thing is, I did have a balance on Poker Stars, but it was like, I don't know what I had there, like $500, and I'm like, I don't want to grind this from nothing. I'll just take a month off. I'll take a month off. And then eventually I took like 2.5 years off, and I decided I took a break from poker to engage in chess. I want to go back to that hobby. I want to see if I can move myself up in the chess world. And that's when I moved to Poland for quite a few years. So that's what I was doing. And then when poker was available again on Full Tilt, eventually Full Tilt got sold off to Poker Stars, and they're basically both one site. I had been out of the game for so long that I didn't really feel like I was going back. And I didn't like the trend of poker. There was like less and less people earning over $100,000 a year online. I mean, I didn't like that trend at all. So back in like 2011, 2012, or sorry, I guess it was around 2012, 2013, I decided we're just going to abandon this hobby. I don't like the future of it. It could die in like 10 years, and I went back to I went to business school, and I started playing Magic again and started this YouTube channel. In retrospect, I mean, I don't mind my decision, but it looks like poker stabilized, completely stabilized. It's not going anywhere. It's not even close to dying. So I was wrong. I was wrong about the dying part to poker. Would I go back? I wouldn't mind going back. I wouldn't mind going back, but I can't toggle too many. If I know anything about hobbies, you can't toggle too many at once. You know, I like to be good at what I do, so I like to stick to like 2 or less hobbies at once. So right now we're like with basically my hobbies are like Magic and YouTube, and a bit of chess. I'm trying to squeeze chess back in, so I have no real intention of going back to poker, but I would be open to it. It's possible, but that's why I stopped playing. Rodrigo asks, "What is your first name?" My first name is Jonathan. Last name is Zachek. I think my debut when everyone knew my name was when I made the top 8 of Grand Prix Vancouver, and there was a Merfolk deck at the top 8 of Grand Prix Vancouver, and people are like, does that person watch Nikachu? Is that like Nikachu's deck list? And then there's other people saying that is Nikachu. That is Nikachu. Showing how it's done. Yeah, before that, no one knew my real name. In my opinion, it's not something I'm trying to hide either. If you do any investigative work online, you would eventually connect the name Nikachu with my real name anyway. McDonald's stole Tim Hortons coffee supplier. That's interesting. Sean's like, McDonald's coffee is trash. No, McDonald's coffee is great, says Lantern. I love it. Some debate here whether McDonald's coffee is good or not. I think it's good. I think it's fine. Whatever. It's McDonald's coffee is the McDonald's of coffee. If that makes any sense. Rodrigo, what are your expectations of Zendikar Rising? Hopefully no Merfolk. There are Merfolk on Zendikar. I mean, so hopefully something cool can happen. I mean, I'm not going to be too excited because, you know, I've now waded through so many sets where I was hoping for something really good to happen, and we got like horribly disappointed over and over and over again. So I'm not being too hopeful for anything, but you know, whatever. I guess I'm hoping that Modern doesn't shake up too much. That's what I'm hoping. Anyone want to take a proper bet on whether Nikachu or Rudy gets a preview card first? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think I have as much chance of getting a preview card as Rudy does at this point. Thomas is like, I'm going with Nikachu on that. My two faves along with SB MTG. Mac Gibson, what would you say are the chances of a Lurrus ban? Very high. I think, I mean, even if they ban Mishra's Bauble, it's probably not gonna fix the format. At least Lurrus is still gonna be played in everything. I mean, maybe not. I mean, I have no idea exactly, but it's probably gonna go event. If Mishra's Bauble goes first, then probably Lurrus is gonna follow later. I don't feel very confident about this card still being legal. Like, I mean, if I dissect what makes Lurrus, it is Snapcaster Mage every single turn for permanence. Every turn. Snapcaster Mage is just a one-time deal. And I bet if Lurrus was only a one-time deal as well, like when it enters the battlefield, just bring something back from your graveyard, it would have been fine. We would not have this discussion about Lurrus. It's ridiculous. But it's every single turn, and if you cannot kill that Lurrus, you're dead. I mean, you're just doomed. SLVR, how are you doing about the quarantine thing? Any routines you miss? Not really. I'm not missing out on really all that much. My life did not change very much. I'm still doing the same thing I usually do. Still on YouTube. I'm pretty much inside pretty often. I guess I don't pick up cards from my local game store as much as I used to. I feel like if I go shopping, I can't just go shopping for, like, I don't know, a loaf of bread. I have to go. I wonder if any of the new cards will get banned before they are even released in paper. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I mean, banned in other formats, sure. I don't know what the problem is about banning the card in Modern and Legacy. Like, okay, if the point of these sets are mostly for Standard, then just make them for Standard. Like, make sure that the cards are fine for Standard, and if they're bad for the other formats, ban them the hell out of here. Just, this should not be Wizards of the Coast focus anyway. Like, the Pro Tour isn't, like, the default format at the Pro Tour is not Modern, it's Standard. So, you know, do whatever you need to do for Standard. You know, keep, I don't care what's happening in Standard. If you want to make these sets and get them cracked for Limited and Standard, great. If they go too far in Modern and Legacy and it's upsetting people, get rid of them. Like, we don't want them, we don't care. They are not that essential to the format, that's for sure. Daniel Wilcox, I'm so late. It's all good. I started a little bit late, so it's all good. I think we're only like 47 minutes into this. So we'll do this for about, I don't know, 13, maybe. Well, we'll see where it goes. I have no set time or date for doing any of this right now. I'm sort of just waiting for my brother to show up. We're supposed to make videos today. He usually shows up around 9:30. It's 10 o'clock right now. Maybe he's on the way for all I know. The Late Gang, that's right, the Late Gang. Welcome to all the Fish Fam, Ghost Gangs, Cryptic Clubs, and the Late Gang. Cheers. Isn't Kenny Omega from Winnipeg as well? I have no idea. I don't know who Kenny Omega is. So I think I got this question already. What are my expectations for Zendikar Rising? Josie says, for your information, my girlfriend hopped on to chime in on wrestling belts while I was in the bathroom. That's interesting. Fiel John Maria, I didn't know Chris Jericho was from Winnipeg. When he went here to the Philippines, he was a Fiel, but we were so starstruck when we just cheered Y2J over and over again. Yep, he is from Winnipeg. Felipe, good morning. Question, what to do if my deck cannot afford Lurrus? Example, 8-rack, G-Stompy, black-white tokens. Don't buy it. Just don't buy it. Just don't buy the card. Simple as that. Try to accommodate, what I would say is, because Merfolk is attacking the Lurrus metagame by playing Chalice of the Void, because the focus of most of the decks are around the 1 converted mana cost to 2 converted mana cost spells. And maybe something for black-white tokens for 8 rack. Maybe there's some way maybe you know how to defeat a metagame that's very low on converted mana cost, but like that would be my best suggestion. And besides, something is going to get banned anyway, so it's okay to just wait it out. You might have a little bit less of a win condition win percentage than you used to, but that would be about it. Eventually something will change and everything will go back to normal. And is there just not some other companion that you can play? Can 8-rack play something? Can't tell. Lurrus would be pretty good in 8-rack, actually. Well, I mean, like, what's the problem with Lurrus, actually? Because I don't think Lurrus is the problem for you. I mean, I think that card is affordable. The problem is the Mishra's Bauble, but you probably don't even need it if you're playing something like 8-rack, because you want to, like, get rid of all the cards in... Well, I guess you don't want to get rid of all the cards in your hand. Or you might if you're playing in Snaring Bridge. I don't know, I would have to think about it. Thomas Perry, have you ever considered bringing on other players/streamers that run specific decks like yours to discuss your matchup? Sort of. Usually when I bring those people on, because I had the, what was it called? The Masters Monday for quite a while, where I brought on other streamers that were masters of their deck, and we talked about, but it was mostly about their deck, because like I just wanted to focus on their community at large. Anyone who is playing like Amulet Titan or Dredge or Storm or Death Shadow. I wanted it to be more about them than to be about merfolk, because this would be a little bit narrow, and I wanted to be a little bit more beneficial. It would be to a wider audience. It's interesting. If anyone wanted to, come on my show. I mean, I have talked a little bit about it. Like, what's your matchup against merfolk? And Laplacian was like, oh yeah, I destroy merfolk. They're all gonna say the same thing. We destroy merfolk. It's just how it is. Everyone thinks they have a good matchup against merfolk. One person who can say that genuinely is like Sodek, because like I have like, I don't know, I'm 0 for 7 against him. Josie says, I run a Blue Moon deck and have cut down to 2 Blood Moons in the main. Yeah, Blood Moon is tough. Blood Moon is tough right now. Hey Nikachu, when Modern Horizons came out, you talked about a possibility for merfolk to include Unsettled Mariner. Have you considered it with Lurrus? Says Apotaz. So the problem with Unsettled Mariner is I don't have any flex slots available, and I don't actually think it's that good right now. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. I don't know if it goes over the top, because after if you're playing Lurrus and you've squeezed in 4 Mishra's Baubles, and I also believe that I want to play with Chalice of the Void in the main, that takes up all my flex spots, and I don't really have much room for anything else. And so I have like more or less 2 flex spots after I've filled the deck with all the core components. And I just prefer to have something like Harbinger of the Tides or some sort of like creature interaction, because Unsettled Mariner is sort of a passive way of protecting. And basically, Chalice of the Void is my Unsettled Mariner, basically. Yeah, so basically, yeah, Chalice of the Void I think it just is positioned better, and I don't have any other room for Unsettled Mariner. Florian says, I guess all the meta in poker changed a lot in these 2 years, all of these new cards and the power creep. Eric says, I'm guessing you're a very aggressive poker player. Yes. I'm sort of loose. Let's just say I was very loose pre-flop and then very tight post-flop for the most part. But I also played some very unconventional lines. My poker style was like, there would be like this conventional thought or strategy that everyone knows and uses because that's what's being taught. And then I try to use that knowledge against them. Like if they're playing in a certain way, then I know, okay, you have this sort of hand in this sort of spot. Now I'm going to take a weird line because I know you've got this sort of hand in this spot to extract the most value or to bluff them. Usually it's all about value extraction. I wasn't very big into bluffing. I was very aggressive, but I was aggressively getting value. It's all about the value in poker. Jaco says, hey dude, when was the last time you had diarrhea? Regards from Argentina. I don't know, a week ago? Can't remember. What did I eat? I don't know, something happened. Something happened. When you do these live streams, you get all sorts of questions. How many basic planes does Burn run? None. Absolutely none. I don't think I've seen any basic planes in most lists, but I play Red Prison, Blood Moon, and Chalice of the Void. LOL, Burn is usually a pretty good matchup. Gamebox, what software do you use to edit your videos, and will it change when you get your new PC? So I use Camtasia, which is really like a screen recording software, but it doubles as an editor. And it's gonna stay the same because it is so easy to use. It's so easy and user-friendly and painless. Look, I have a film degree, and frankly, I don't really like editing on Adobe Premiere or Final Cut Pro because they are much more complicated and I have to constantly look shit up online. For the needs of a YouTube channel, this Camtasia program is really simple. You have to pay for it, but it's really simple and it's really easy to use. And you know what? You don't need a film degree to use it, in my opinion. They have a tutorial that you can learn in like an hour. But I use Camtasia. Matt Hott says, thoughts on planeswalkers like Renin 6? Should every color combo have a modern playable planeswalker now? It seems weird to me for them stop with Gruul without providing other color combos. I don't know if, well, I mean, don't they have like, I think they have a planeswalker for every color combination, don't they? I mean, we had the Simic one, we had Oko Thief of Crowns, and apparently it was like too damn good. I could be wrong, but I think that there is a planeswalker for like all the color combinations. We got like mono blue, green, red, black, white. We've got I think Sorin is Orzhov. We've got Kiora is Simic. We've got I'm not good with naming the names, but I think there is something for everyone. The problem is that they're not all competitive. They're all janky and crappy. That's all. If Wizards told you, this is from Piotr, if Wizards told you to design a 3-drop Merfolk for Modern Merfolk, what would you desire? Something probably in the range of a Reflector Mage, something that I can play and bounce like a creature. Probably something like that. For 3 mana, it's got to be pretty strong. It's got to be pretty strong. And it's a Lord. That'd be sick. You play this Lord and you bounce something? Oh man, I'm in for that. In an Arkham-free world, would you brew a Blood Moon Merfolk for Troll Tuesday? I mean, I have. I mean, look up Moonfolk in my history. I've done this before, and it was pretty good. It was pretty good. And also, you know, quite recently, I also played a blue-red Violus version of Merfolk, but Blood Moon was in the sideboard. So, I mean, I do approve of Blood Moon in Modern Merfolk. I do. Mikey says, why is everyone who says Merfolk is unplayable wrong? Because they just are. They don't understand the power of Merfolk. Joseph says they need to like snap print 30 more companions. We could help level the playing field. Why did they make only one really good companion? Lewis would still be busted even if he would be a one-time only effect. Starting with a 9-card hand is just too good. Yeah, but like everyone sort of has access to this 9-card hand. And by the way, like other decks have had 9-card hands for forever. Like Eldrazi-tron, they've got 9-card hands. Boom, Karn the Great Creator, shut down like all your artifacts. Oh, and I get to take a card from my sideboard. Beautiful. So some archetypes were already playing at 9 cards more often than other people. And like, yeah, like maybe you don't have Karn the Great Creator in your starting hand all the time, but they will have it often enough that it's like, it's a pretty big problem. So I think Companion actually tried to level the playing field against these other decks. Like really, there's like other decks that have super great card advantage, and Lurrus just sort of gave those other decks that didn't have all that card advantage, you know, like they threw us a bone, basically. They threw us a bone and we spat back in Wizards of the Coast face. No one likes anything that Wizards gives us. Unbelievable, unbelievable. remember, I'm not against the companions. I'm for the companions. I'm pro-companion. Part of that, like 15 to 20%. What's worse, Mystic Sanctuary or Lurrus? Oh, Lurrus probably has to be worse than Mystic Sanctuary. Mystic Sanctuary is like a pretty fair card. It's like strong. Like, hey, make no mistake, you know, this land that comes into the battlefield and can put an instant back on top of your library, that's damn good. But, you know, you have to play that instant first. You then now need to have 3 islands in play, so that's a deck building restriction, which might get more difficult when Arkham's Astrolabe is banned. That would be interesting when if Arkham's Astrolabe is banned, Mystic Sanctuary might not be as good as it used to be. So definitely Lurrus. If one's more egregious than the other, it's definitely Lurrus. Like, Merfolk can't play Mystic Sanctuary. It's just very difficult because I want to play with things like Horizon Lands and Mutavault and other things. So Mystic Sanctuary just can't be slotted into any deck. It's got to be in a very specific deck. What do we got here? Elias says, I love chess too. People like to call me the Tempo Master just because I like Delver decks and play mono blue Merfolk over Simic. Before Lurrus, Corbin Hossler list was good. Yeah, they banned Lutri for Commander preemptively. David, we've been through this before. David, or Tulio. We got Tulio here. People say Saffron Olive and others suggested that Wizards of the Coast should ban Companion as a keyword and leave the creatures in. What do you think about that? That's totally possible. That's totally fair. I mean, we know we've gone through rule changes like this before. Just look at how many times they changed the legendary rule. You know, before only one person can have like a legendary permanent in play, and then later, you know, anyone can play a legendary permanent. But when if you play a legendary permanent and they play a legendary permanent, you lose your legendary permanent, and now we're in a point where everyone can have legendary permanents. And then you can have different legendary permanents, like three different Jaces on the battlefield at the same time. That's stupid. But you can change the rules. They can change the rules however they want, and that would be a fine fix. I don't know if it would be enough, but we will see. Danjo, do you think splashing other colors other than blue in Merfolk is worth the mana/creature consistency? I find that mono blue is the most stable, but loses out a few things in other colors. So as of today, the most tried and true splash is Simic, because you do get the benefits of Kumena Speaker, which is a 2/2 creature, and it can be like, so basically it's a 3/3 creature if you get your Lord in play by turn 2, and you also have you get to play with Merfolk Mistbinder, which on the surface looks sort of crappy, but the fact that it costs 1 less mana than Mara Reedry will win you a lot of games that you normally wouldn't. So that is also pretty important. So the green splash is definitely worth it, and the other splashes like red, white, and black sort of have to prove themselves. But with Lurrus in the metagame, definitely white looks good, and black probably is also good. I just say black is a bit iffy because burn is really popular, and the black splash takes their mana base is like more fragile. You get burned on their mana base. Thomas Perry, didn't know about Masters Monday. We'll have to check it out. Yeah, I haven't been doing it for a little while because I got really busy with school, but if you just look up Masters Monday, Nikachu MTG, I have like millions of interviews with all sorts of other deck masters that you can learn about. Paul Bain, no one really plays Merfolk that much, so it's hard to say if you have a good matchup. It's possible. I don't know what this is referring to. Wouldn't Bauble be better than Chalice of the Void? Maybe. Well, I mean, you want both. I play Chalice on 1 to lock out all my opponent's 1-drops, but I still play Bauble at the same time. Thomas says, what would be the next bans/unbans for each format? I don't know. I don't know what they'll do in Legacy. Like, you know, like for example, Oko is still running rampant in Legacy. A lot of nonsense is running rampant in Legacy. So it's hard to tell what's going to happen in Legacy or Vintage. Probably they'll ban Lurrus in Vintage, because apparently people hate the idea of like turn 1 Black Lotus, sacrifice, cast your Lurrus, and then bring Black Lotus back from the graveyard onto the battlefield. Free 3/2 creature that's gonna recur things every single turn. That's ridiculous, and everyone would play it. So we might finally see a card that gets banned in Vintage that has nothing to do with dexterity or gambling. But the only other format I think they'll take action is just Modern, but it's just a matter, are they going to do away with Bobble, or are they going to do away with Lurrus? And it's not clear. Like, probably they'll ban Lurrus, but it's not entirely clear that they'll definitely do that. Barracuda asks, Nikachu, could you explain how retaining priority works? I thought priority was passed every time a person puts something on the stack. Great question. So this is a great rules question. So this is how Magic actually works. Whenever you cast something, you automatically have priority. So let's say I cast Master of the Pearl Trident. The next person that's allowed to respond is me, not the opponent. It's me. However, when you are playing in paper, this is very, how can I put it? It's not practical to like say, Master of the Pearl Trident, I have no response past priority. It's a bit ridiculous. So by default in paper Magic, you are always passing your own priority after you've cast a spell. But technically by the rules, you get priority first whenever you cast a spell. So if I play Master of the Pearl Trident, I get to respond to my Master of the Pearl Trident before my opponent is allowed to do anything. And then if I pass priority, they can cast a spell, and then they immediately get priority. But the thing is, in paper Magic, we automatically shortcut to our opponent getting priority because that is just the more practical thing to do. So if you want to retain priority in paper, what you have to say is, before you cast your spell, you say, I'm going to retain priority. I am going to retain priority, cast Master of the Pearl Trident. So that's all you have to say before you cast your spell. I'm retaining priority, cast Master of the Pearl Trident. Because if you just cast your Master of the Pearl Trident or any other spell, it is assumed that you are automatically passing priority. But within the rules, you are allowed to have, you get priority first. Same thing with Magic Online. If you cast a spell, it automatically passes priority. But there is like a key that you can hold down, and you can cast a spell, and then you retain priority, and then you can play something in response to your own spell. But I don't remember what key it is. You might have to look it up on the internet or in your options. But that's basically how the rule actually works. So I hope that helps, and I hope it also gives people a better understanding about how the rules work, because it matters. It matters in a lot of situations. There was a time, for example, back when Merfolk used to play Tectonic Edge, if my opponent, let's say I'm up against Tron, and they've got Urza's Tower, Urza's Mine, Urza's Power Plant, and I've got 2 Tectonic Edges on the battlefield, and I have enough mana to cast both of them. If I Tectonic Edge their Urza's Mine, because they need to have 4 lands in play for me to activate Tectonic Edge. If I activate the first Tectonic Edge and blow up the Urza's Mine, then I can, and then let it resolve, my opponent now has 3 lands in play, and I can't activate the second Tectonic Edge. And my opponent can just play Urza's Mine and have Tron active all over again. I want to hit this power plant and the mine at the same time. How do I do that? First, activate Tectonic Edge, targeting Urza's Mine, holding priority. So with my Tectonic Edge on the stack, I activate the other Tectonic Edge, target the Urza's Power Plant. Now I've got 2 of these effects on the stack at the same time, and my opponent has 4 lands in play that I was allowed to activate them both at the same time. Then when they resolve, they blow up the 2 lands. So that was a common situation in Merfolk where I retained priority. Is there anything, like a modern day example where I might want to do this? I know, like, Blue Moon players, they would want to cast a spell and remand their own spell, and for that they have to retain priority. So if they want to say Lightning Bolt you, remand your Lightning Bolt, they got to go remand holding priority, Lightning Bolt you, remand my Lightning Bolt, remand resolves, draw a card, Lightning Bolt goes back in hand, and then Lightning Bolt you. Oh yeah, Lightning Storm is the modern day version of something that needs to hold priority. And I've done... Oh, you hear that? It's my brother. Hold on, give me a second. Hello?
It's me.
All right, come in. My brother is here, which means we gotta start filming stuff. All right, so let's see if we can. We'll wrap this up with I don't know, 1 or 2 more questions. My brother's still got to set some stuff up. Wonder if everyone could hear that? The sound of a brother coming. Okay, you're gonna ask my brother one thing. What do you want to ask? That will be the last question while he's here. We don't get to ask your brother questions? All right, ask. Ask something.
I'm here.
How did you get so cool?
Well, I went to Juilliard for 10 years, and then I went to Harvard for another 5.
Years of hanging around me.
I don't know about that. All I ever gave him was the coronavirus.
Hey, you're not supposed to say that on stream. They're gonna tank this video in the algorithm. What's your favorite movie? They asked me that actually the other day. I didn't know. I said Spirited Away. You liked that one, but I don't know if it was your favorite.
No. I don't know. Couldn't tell you right now.
Wow.
It's not on my mind.
On the spot, he can't give you a question, or can't give you an answer. Who's your favorite brother? Sounds like something you would say.
Well, who knows? Maybe we have brothers, siblings.
Show yourself. Okay, I think we have. They're like, how often did you beat me up when we were kids?
Never.
What spirit is needed to make Blue? Okay, we'll ask my brother this. What spirit is needed to make Blue White Spirits better in Pioneer? It's not supposed to be a question from you, but whatever.
Well, any of those +1/+1 lords, but make them 2 mana, not 3, because they're all 3 spirits.
No, there's 1 2-mana one, but only 1. All right, I think that's it. We have work to do. We need to get that Modern League content out, so we're going to start working on that, and it's going to be... Would my brother play Esper Merfolk? He plays Dimir Merfolk with 4 Ornithopters. Why? Why 4 Ornithopters? Give your reasoning.
They're free.
They're free.
They're free. They fly.
Mhm.
So they can block anything, flyers and ground creatures. Because they're free, they don't screw up your mana base at all. They don't
scrub your mana base. Ornithopter is great. You can splash it in any deck.
Yeah,
and also,
you can go to 64 cards with 4 Ornithopters.
Yes, my brother is a huge fan of the 64 card Dimir Merfolk Ornithopter list that plays Bone Splitter.
Everyone should just jam 4 Ornithopters. You'd have
There's no cost at all.
Yes, there's none. You can have a turn 1 blocker against anything. Against anything, a turn 1 blocker.
That one turn might be everything.
It could be.
It's basically a fog for 1 creature.
You don't have to worry about any flying creatures for at least a turn. There's a lot of flying creatures that only have 2 toughness. They clash together, they're dead. And it costs you nothing.
Costs you absolutely nothing.
It was free.
The words of wisdom here. If you learned something, give a like to this live stream. It did very well. So anyway, thank you very much everyone for joining me today and joining my brother a little bit at the end. Hope you enjoyed your coffee with me. Enjoy your morning. You got to start the morning right. And we'll definitely do something like this tomorrow. Probably around, I don't know for sure, but probably around 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. That's just what's most convenient for me. Assuming we can record the videos, because my brother comes around like it's 10:25 right now. But anyway, we are going to get to work, but we are definitely going to still do these daily live streams on, I think during the weekdays will work out fine. And yeah, so if you want to hang out with me, no problem. See you tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that and the day after that. So thank you very much, everybody. Love the Hangout, loved everyone, love the likes and the comments, love the community, and I will see you next time.